So this is getting a couple replies. Rosemary, you weren't the only one that asked about it, it turns out now, in my email, asking about that Josh guy and his stating that it first failed at this wall over here. So it first failed at the wall over there. So you go online, you look up, just Google search the images again, and you'll come across this image here. One of them that I have them also, but I'm just grabbing this image because it was easier for me to find than I recalled where my images were. Over here we have the red band around the tile area right here. Let's look at this section of broken decking. Well, it mirrors this section here. So a buckling took place that caused that you see here, and this is where that flower pot was. There was a flower pot here, planter box rather, and then there was extended planter box here like that, which we see right here, and this went over, anchored into what I call the jealous wall, right? The jealous wall. Interesting. The anchorage in there. Let's just jump to that almost. But before we do that, let's consider this tile right there. It's butted up against that wall. Okay. So let's consider that it can hinge here, which it would not. But let's just continue it over, and you consider it hinging there. So it starts falling down. All right, as it's falling down, it's now already creating a punching here, so the hinge is now taking place. In other words, it's still the same depth. The column didn't shrink in the height. But as you can see here, this would create that would start punching through here. And this would also, you get nothing for free, right? So you just can't have the top of the deck hinging for free. So as the top, because you see how it's closing in on it, right? You see, let me show you. If I go down, well, the bottom of the deck didn't move at all. That was the bottom. I have to make them move together. So the resist that movement would be this head of this column here, would be the head of it. Let's make it kind of integral like that so you can imagine it punching through it. The concrete's integral here with the turning of the 14-degree ears. So maybe that's not fair. It's more decking on here, and we've got those ears. Remember the ears. They tell the story. The ears tell the story of which way it punched. And we've already gone over that. We've already gone over these ears in the wire and the reinforcement the way it goes. Please ask me to send you the link of the other video of that, and I will. But let's just call this our force downwards. And we all of a sudden have that. Well, we've already creating a punching going on right at this point. And you have a lifting here, or also some punching also, but now this one wants to flap down. So when this is done, we've got the hinge point further back here. The lever would be slightly fractured here, right? But we would have, let's parallel it up a little bit. So we got complete punching there. Oh, it looks like we've got this on an angle a bit. So our material would be, would indicate differently around here. Don't have that. And then it wouldn't have the butterfly anymore, would it? It would do that, and then this would fall through, and it would be sort of an incline then, wouldn't it? It would be multiples of these, not draped down, like you see here in the image, draped down, and then coming back up. All right. So let's put that back there again. Let's go at it again. Playing devil's advocate, which I've already played this before. So our red tile stops at the wall. Our red tile has to have some reason, some action, something to make it want to fall down. What would that be? Just the, as you like guys like to call it, the gravity load? The dead load of it? All right, so gravity load. Gravity forces, how's that? Or can we make it so we have failure over here of the reinforcement? For some reason, the reinforcement just decides it wants to fail here. Oh, wait a minute, but incidentally, this wall system, there's more of a planter box over here in vehicles. Let's look in the background at the image, at the drawing now. So this area here, here's the, well, they don't have the jacuzzi in yet, but here's the parking garage area here. Parking garage area, there's the column. There's these there are those two columns. There's the hot tub over here. And so we got our hot tub over here. Those two columns, the part of the big main structure, and then here's the planter box. Let's look at the reinforcement down here. It says 5 number 12s, 90s coming out of there. Maybe they're 90s, maybe they're not. We can't tell. They won't release it, will they? But we'll hold on to that because we went down that road before. Let's look at the reinforcement. Okay, 8 number 5s, 8 number 5s, 8 number 5s, 8 number 5s, 8 5s. Okay? Let's come into this part where it would be the hinging from this point. 14 4s. Well, we got the hot tub here now, so let's just leave that out because it didn't fail between the hot tub and the pool. So we'll discount the 16 4s here because it didn't fail over there. 14 4s. Okay, 14 4s. Now, 14 4s. Wait a minute, we're getting into the building now. 14 4s. So all the reinforcement is pretty much parallel from the bulkhead. Remember, there's a bulkhead down here with concrete. Bulkhead with concrete. I did these images a long time ago, going over this reinforcement. Bulkhead with concrete. Well, there's the red tile. See the red tile? Remember I showed that little swale, little swale down there? Here's M. There's M going across. And that is M over here. They didn't mark it yet, but M's over one more. But there's M right on the other side of the pool. There's the column. There's your next column. So M, and then I think this is M, and then that one. Now let's go to try to prove the color. See the colors, color changes in them. Okay, so M, KLM, 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 KLM. Okay, let's just go to that for a moment. But take note of this. Remember, I showed you by there's the drain, but let's move that out of the way. But that little swale down there. Oh, while we're at it, let's move this out of the way and take note of the flower boxes. They just flipped over. Here's a fracture here. All right, and then there's vehicles under here. I told you guys I found the vehicles under there. And then there's a fracture here. Oh, there's a column there also. Oh, okay. So there's a fracture here. There's another fracture back here that I can't see in this image. I can't show you, but the other fracture is... So we got a fracture here, and then that sets back. I think there's a construction joint here. The construction joint here looks pretty underneath of this section. Looks like they really did the dialing of the construction joint over here, but in other locations it looks like they did not. Let's go to back image. I might have to zoom out. Okay, so there we are we're too far over. Move this out of the way, and you can see the title of it for you people that watch me and say I don't share. Just do a little diving. Look, there's the name of it. All right, so there's the red band again. The red band is supposed to be what is being claimed to have hinged first. Look over here. Let's talk about over here. Remember, this has a wall, steel wall, bulkhead down it. And they did their other steel bulkhead wall, maybe right about there. And before that, the street was double wide, which is in the documents. They state that. Well, if you're looking for frequency, continuous use, and vibration, you need look no further than a street. There were many trucks that probably went up and down the street that did deliveries, stopping, vibration, cars, all those cycles over the years. Apparently, didn't cause any wall to fail. All right, we're going to get to this, how this literally looks. And maybe I should jump out of it. Maybe I should jump out of it, and let's scroll back. Let's jump out of it. So I think I have to do this. You'll see some of the images. You can disregard them or pause the screen and dive into them if you like. I want to show you this. So we have how it can fail, when the behavior of this concrete, how we can look at how it fails. Well, sometimes it fractures cleanly at the wall because it creates a shear plane, a nice little backing of a table, if you will, to be able to shear it off. Sometimes it sticks out a little bit further. The shear plane's created a little bit further out. And sometimes it's a little bit in and out, a little not so clean. All right, so now that you have that in your mind, keep that in your coconut. There's the pool deck area one. This is when we were looking for cracked tiles. If anything, you want to say that cracked tiles, if they could be shown to have cracked, after they started their hammering, that would have been nice. But it seems like no one's documented that. It's not showing up. Okay, we'll go here. So this is well, let's get the lettering, because there's a letter here. This is all right, so there's some of the doweling that is over here, past the jacuzzi over here. This is a construction joint. You can see how it's recessed in. And I see where holes were for rebar reinforcement. And lower also. Now, I don't see it at other locations. So you can see that looks like bent rebar apparent. Presents as bent piece of rebar. This is they demoed this after the demo, and that's between the pool deck. That has the 16 fours in it. I think they referenced on the drawing. Back at this area. This is the overlay that they added, and then the slight bit of waterproofing. And maybe that's a sand bed that people are referencing, and the tile. This would be the waterproofing too. I think it's black membrane, which the engineer claims would be not present in the original design down here. But I guess we can't tell if they redid this roof, redid this. Maybe they removed the waterproofing. I don't know, but I mean, I just don't know. I'm biasedly stating that that's an option, that they stripped it and then put their tile on. You'd have to go all the way around the outer deck there to confirm that. Let's go and you see how this is using a raft type foundation to support this heavy jacuzzi. Little sediment visible. All right, so over here, that's that fracture I showed you on the main building, where you can see how it can fracture. This would be a close-up of it. This is after they demoed, because now we have rebar bent up. UP, up. And so we can't really count that, can we? But this is around that area where we see that little buckling. This required the deck to be ripped away, rebar still holding in place, folding away, and then failing the concrete. Same thing here, ripped away, not just falling straight down. That rebar held on. Well, this rebar, if you fold it back up, probably goes to there. They had to rip this away. If you look at the demo images after this, you'll see all these ledges overhang at a lot of places. They're still there overhanging. If you look at this, the white band up here, the painted wall, that means the floor was on top of it. And here, in fact, when they tore it down, that's the jealous wall that fell over, a section of it. See, it's still there. As we move over, and this is very interesting. As we move over, remember we had that rebar, the L-shaped rebar. It's supposed to be inside here. This is pretty pulverized. I wonder if it was in there when they pulled it out. It pulverized that concrete. over there. That's where that wall stops, and this is where the parking is. Now, with that said, we go back to the parking, and the parking is over here. So the most loaded area on this wall would be where the cars are. You wouldn't have it, if you had a choice, you wouldn't pick which one's going to fail first, the one that's least loaded or mostly loaded. Well, you're going to pick the car loaded. The planter boxes are here. The cars are here. But we're only going to stay on this side if you want to pick on this one wall. You would pick the more loaded, sorry, I'm looking at something out the window. The more loaded area, if considering that they're reinforced the same. And here's 16 fives, 18 fives, 16 fives, 18 fives. This is 19 fives. That's where the planter box is, but it's got more reinforcement that way. There's 11 fours coming this way, 11 fours, uniform so far, 11 fours. Now we're back in our car area, 11 fours. See it right here, 11 fours, 11 fours, and 11 fours. Yes, there's a detail on the drawing that says, in addition to that, you'll add this additional steel. Note, bottom reinforcement shell. This is another note. Shall be 4 number 12s in 2 directions. So it's, no matter what, that still comes out balanced over there, unless you interpret it by this area only, where it says bottom additional. You know, do they mean it right here only out to where it says 4 number 12s, 20 foot long? Do they only mean it to here? It's I mean, the 20 foot length, it looks like that. Look, you know, I'm just flashing back 1980s. You know, we're going to assume is L with the dot behind it means the length. That's typical length of rebar that you can buy. You can buy it in longer lengths, 40 feet, but the 20 foot length. And it says 4 number 12s, bottom additional. And it looks like, you know, almost like that's a center line detail he's trying to call out. I don't see that everywhere else. It doesn't quite, you know, it says additional. And on here, if he didn't have this note on here, you would assume it's everywhere. But this note is kind of specific. It's there. This is calling out. I mean, there's bottom additional. And yes, it's ambiguous. If you want, you see that, it becomes ambiguous. Bottom reinforcement shall be not a choice. 4 number 12s bottom each way, in addition to any indicated bottom steel. Seems like you're got an overlap of steel, that's for sure. You would hope that the person would use some common sense and not just some common sense, because we have 11 fours here. And this says 2 directions, 4, but again, it only goes to there, so could they be referencing here? No matter what, it balances out, so you can add this or take it away in your mind. It's still balanced on this wall. With that said, again, with the vehicles over here, and just the pool deck ledger over here, the pool deck and ledger over here, why would you pick this as your starting point if you have that more heavily loaded here? It's just not logical to pick that as your starting point, unless you can claim that that vibration was so great it made it through their bulkhead, their concrete, and through their deck. But they're not claiming that, because the frequency that they're showing, so far only shows one bump. One bump. It doesn't show that it went up to there and stayed up there for, 30 minutes. It doesn't show that. They're stating it peaked, and a peak is a bump. One little hit. You could have dropped the machine. You could have hit a rock. You could have moved the machine. You could have banged some steel. It's one bump. You could be shutting down the machine, echoing, starting up the machine. It could be a lightning strike. It could be so many things. So, but one bump you're looking for. One bump doesn't get you that. All right, so there are the vehicles over here. This is the wall. If you're going to pick somewhere that, since it's all reinforced the same, reinforce the same, and you're in line here. You're just got a slight stagger here. It's about 6 inches off. This actually puts this 6 inches closer to the wall. See, this one's further out from here to here, and then there's a stagger. These put these closer to the wall. In fact, you got the hot tub here now, so that reduces the that gives it even more it acts like a column, the hot tub around the edges of it. It's acting like a giant column to help support this area here. The hot tub to help support that area more so. And the loading is such as just dead load and human traffic. You know, I love that word to help you remember. Human traffic and live load. And here's your live load that's a hell of a dead load. The planter boxes, the plants, the grass, the whatever the hell it is, the soil, the vehicles. And so, yes, first we have him, this Josh guy, first saying it's post-tensioning failure in the roof. Remember that? He was sure of that and left it in there until he went from his 800 subscribers, until he started getting, and then it got traction, and people wrote me all excited about, no, you don't know what you're talking about. Josh is an engineer in Florida, and he says it's post-tension failure in the roof. He left that up forever. After he got to 35, 50,000 people, then he'd made the video disappear. And then he changed it to planter boxes. Oh, I don't know if that was the sequence. Was it planter boxes next? Then it was the deck over there. I think he hit the core samples. Then he hit my area over here was it. And now he's right here over here now. So, really, guys? He's all over the place, but now you guys have me looking into his latest one that he's claiming it's here now. Remember, I told you that this is money related for a lot of these channels. They get money. Every million views, they get $5,000. If you want to go back, just look at the channel, look up their viewership on each one of those things, and start adding it up. You see 200,000 there? Okay, there you go. When you get to 1 million, which you should get to pretty easy on both those other channels because I've been made mute, then you'll see right there that's 5,000. And then now you'll see why they keep pushing, just trying to push on anything magical, and it's not right. It's not right. I'm not ethically built that way. I'll let the data fall where it falls. If the video shows up and shows this ledge breaking off first, I would find that totally amazing because we see it right here. I can see all of this, and I see a fracture here, a bending moment here. Remember cars. I waited forever for cars to show up. There are vehicles under here. So we get our butterfly, but it's way out far. It's where the cars are. The butterfly's out here between these two. That's where this whole action takes place. Way out. Let's call that the wall. And our butterfly is there. So this is where we get our action. They get nothing for free. See how it's over here on the left? Of course not. If I rotate this downwards and I start coming down, it doesn't stay there. I'm now making an arc. This has to reduce. It pulls itself away from the wall. A bump off the wall. Once it bumped off the wall, it then can pull itself around this guy here. I guess I should be over here somewhere. And there's a car under here. This can come down right about to there, let's call it. And let's move this dot over where it hits the car. Oh no, I gotta move it over more. Ooh, it won't let me do that. Great. So where it hits the car and fractures. Here's our fracture here. Vehicles parked under there. I don't think they go all the way back to the wall over there. I think they come up short on the wall over there, sort of like in line with these. Then they have something back there like the walkway for the 3-foot door over there by the pool and some other things, but nevertheless, it's still cars there. There's still cars there. Now let's go back to the ledge. So we have these scratch marks here. I'd like to tell you that the scratch marks are the reinforcement, that it came out of the wall there and scratched down. It would be pretty redundant, but I have scratch marks under here also. So maybe it was married and fractured off, and we're looking at where the reinforcement was. They're lining up. So maybe they did tie the reinforcement into here, the deck reinforcement, in pretty damn good. And then there's the scratch marks after they demoed it, because it wasn't that deep. It was only, I think this is around that. See that shape there? Up and down, there's one piece of bar there perhaps. Let's escape this. Oh no, I'll just go backwards. There's our deck. You see the pool deck is ledgered on top of, it only butts up to the wall where the red is. It butts up to there. So this concrete goes through and on top of, see, this is the original deck. It goes through and on top of the 8-inch wall or 12-inch wall along with that bulkhead. This sits on top. See it butted right there? So there's your tile. There's your wall butting up to this wall, and this concrete is on top of this system, the wall system. So it's on top of it. That's why we can get this nice clean line on top of. So that's where the deck butts, the new deck butts up against there, and as there's stucco down to it. Put that at it. Oh, there's the tile there. That makes it very clear. There's the tile. And then there's the new layer. And this sits on top of. On top of. If it's on top of it, this would have to shear off all on its own. It looks beautiful. Look at that nice new concrete. And he just has it shearing on its own. So don't get confused by the top layer, how it's fractured. There's a bottom layer that had to be pulled out. And that bottom layer is to your left. This is your bottom layer pulled out. Here's your tile right there. And there's I believe we're looking at the two pieces of rebar that sticks up for the this block wall, probably grouted in. It was pulled away. Okay. And we move down. Hold on, sorry, moving down. Might be there. Oh, I can't move down any further. I think that's where they transition wall to the smaller one. There's the lamp lighting. I think they transitioned to the smaller one there. So pulled away. This might be. See a little. Let me move this over to the left. This area right here might be this. I know it looks like a bigger piece here. There's a brown column. It's a brown column, no more columns. I don't think there was another one there. And I recall this being marked that I went down this rabbit hole already. Okay, let's look at it. Not pulling away and just the others falling without pulling away first. That it tilts down. If it just tilt down, it would pry this wall up. See this wall? No cracks. See this? No cracks. If it just tilted down first without pulling away first, it would pry the wall up. It would cause fractures in here. We only get that down here in my jealous wall when the firemen, I'll show you when I say look at the jealous wall, look at the cracks. It held on the reinforcement. Actually did a rotation and buckled the wall, bulged the wall a bit. We have no bulging wall here. So this was a quick snatch away from it and then the deceleration down to that point. And that would get us our butterfly over here again, our failure between here first. And that would get us our bump away, our snatch away from there with the reinforcement. Remember, our reinforcement is only, there's supposed to be 90s in here, so you think you'd see more, but perhaps there were 90s in there, and perhaps that's what caused this fracture that we're looking at. There's a hole, when I say hole, it looks like reinforcement. Perhaps that's what created our fracture, clean fracture. Perhaps the drawing like this, maybe the 90s do exist. See the 90s? And when that butterflied over here, that those 90s, all of them engaging 12-inch on center, perhaps they created this, what we're looking at now, this fracture like this, because it does look like in a nice plane. And right there, that's the cone shape. Now I'm being biased because I'm projecting what I want to see at this point. So be careful of that part. But the projection of the cone shape, I said, is what I mean by. Here's your paste from this deck around this paste, or there's a tile again around this one, and that one's pretty rusted. So that one didn't have paste on it. I don't recall these having paste on them. No, they're just rusted, but it's still held up. This wall system, it's a little buttress deal. Again, not even a rotation of this, just a snatch off. Okay, so one of the tricks I do teach contractors that are doing demo work, which I'm involved with a lot of, is be careful of your pry bar effect. You just can't push down on this deck without possibly causing an uplift over here. You get nothing for free. But if you can snatch it and pull away, in this case, all uniformly like that, working its way down, apparently you get this. I've been looking at this for a while, trying to figure out that. It's almost like, you know, it's like a piece of Z-bar, angle iron or something. I can't make it out. There, of course, I saw the electric. It's something to consider. Let's go out of that one. I looked for the cracks. I looked for that cracks in the report where they said it. We couldn't find it. We used this lady here. We looked on the ground. We looked all around. I think one of you said you saw a crack somewhere, or I highlighted possibly a crack, and there's the pool. You know, it's tile. I don't know how they dried that tile, where you got the tile from and all. So I'm not going to go, you know, jumping off the deep end over those cracks. But I gave it a lot of consideration. The tile, the cracking tile, because cracks mean so much to me, as you know. This is what I'm talking about. That over here, where the pool is, it appears to be pretty well doweled. You know, there's the keyway, and these appear to be dowels, and this is in the original deck area. This is not to be confused with the images we were able to observe. It's almost like they have two construction joints. Let's see. I should be able to see the fireman. And let me scroll down here. The fireman by it, and it should be a description there where it doesn't show the dowels. All right, so this is the shot from above, and you see uniformly. It's around it, but I went over a video showing you how the antennas of the rebar explain its format. Over here is where the fire department was, and I said, "There's our fracture. There's that lamp right here. This wall is now a section of it laying down there. You can see the rotation inwards right here. See the steel railing rotation inwards, causing that little buckle there that's visualized." This buckle and this fracture here is visualized here. So there's the railing turned inwards, and all of this debris in this zone right here. And you can see that railing's there, how it caused when it collapsed. But the fracture goes on. It's fractured back here. You see the fracture back here. And I wanted you to draw your attention to this in one of my videos. I try to play stupid on you and say, look at this column. I wanted you guys to deep dive and say, no, it's not a column. It's part of the top of the planter box, and it just hinged over. Okay, that didn't work. Over here is a clear clear shear plane that was created. Look at that. I mean, you can't ask for better than that. These are clearly, very clearly balanced around the columns again. And this is right, and this is where the, if we look down here from that direction, we see the butterfly effect, the butterfly wings, right? Like a butterfly roof, if you guys don't know about it. There's the other fracture that goes about this direction, but remember we have the hot tub over there that can redirect as this is failing. We also have vehicles under here. So what mattered to me was the antenna. All right, let's go off of there and let's get you to, I'm gonna end the video with then I'll find the fireman thing, I think. It's loading. See it? It's, yeah, I think it's quite a few images here. I don't know, 500-600 images. So it takes a minute to scrub them. I'm pushing it. It's just not allowing me to go. See it over here to the right. It won't allow me to push up yet. Now it will. I don't want to push too far. Oh yeah, and so discounting, saying it's failing over there is discounting the huge failure we have already way back there with the core samples. And why would you go looking over there? Because you know you're easily taken to whatever that he reads, or is it financial reasons? We see the structural repairs that were required, and it wasn't really pounding on that area there. Ultimately, I think they were going to take the whole damn deck off and redo it. I don't think that deck would have been a patch job. I think that would have been in the door. I'm going to do a videos on rebar coupling versus lap joints. I triggered this one structural engineer I know, on one of my other channels. He hated me saying 30 times lap. Well, he's going to really hate me when I start talking about why I am not a fan of the lap joints, or where they should be is what really matters to me. The couplings are expensive as hell, and that's the chair. I couldn't get anybody to identify that, so I finally identified it as a chair. The couplings, you get nothing for free. The couplings. So I'm trying. Okay, there's the butterfly again. Okay, from the garage area, looking out, you can clearly see that there's no vehicles presented here. And so as this goes down, this creates that sloped up effect because cars are parked back there, but not underneath of these guys. So it went down even further. We don't see any cars there. Let's exit this one. And let's get you, so there it is again, and again, and again, and again. This is the, I guess I'll, okay, open. All right. So there's the 90s right there, present as 90s rebar. And so that would be the end, the turn up of the 1'6" here also. The slab drop, not drop slab. I always get them backwards. Still will get them backwards. Here's the rebar reinforcement there that came out of the slab. I just highlighted it in such a way. That was up there. This was up there, and that's the fracture that remains. Here it is without the, see the rebar right there in the shadow? And there's the secondary piece. Here's a long piece that came out of there. 1, 2, 3, top steel, which is negative. Which is the right position to have that steel. Should have been some low steel too there, because when he puts his car on it, it stresses at the top. It's only 2 inches of cover. And that makes, basically, if you can think of it like a beam, basically making a 4-inch beam that's holding all that load. But then it's also shared over here at the wall. But at the wall, it all failed also. The entire length of this ripped apart. Remember, I wanted to see what it looks like over there, how they did their slab drop detail. And I can see it right here. I just don't want to do a video on it right now. Maybe somebody else will beat me to it, but I can do it. Here's the fracture right there, the one I call my rebar and back wall, my jealous wall. It held on. You can see it ripping out here. The rebar is clear. That is a lot of rebar over there. Now, I think Josh was, I listened to his video, very tough, but this, you know what, this is a lot of rebar right here. See all that reinforcement? A lot of it. It's a block wall system, and it's not just the dowel system down. This is going from there over, and we won't know because they're not sharing those images with us, are they? How that rebar speaks all the way. There's your punch earring again, so it's uniform. The ears are rotated over. It's right about here somewhere. Hold on, because that's column 31. Yeah, I'm at my joint now, my construction joint, but I have a better one than that. There's the vehicles underneath there. Great. So there's the construction joint, I believe, and you will see no reinforcement, and that created that shear plane where I'm trying to open it, where it okay, try again. Okay, so I see right here is another break going this. Okay, right here is another break going this direction, which indicates that this might have been the multiple slab pours, because this is pretty clean on this side. Oh no, this drapes over. It's oh, right here, I remember now. There's a fracture right here at this column, so it might have been a delay. But again, you look at this butterfly, look at the shape of it, down and up. Of course, now we got this reinforcement messing us up. But there is down and up, and sliding it all the way down, down and up. It's thereabouts parallel with the ass end of this car, and equal with inside the garage. It's like a global failure, you know. It's which kind of makes sense. They were speccing to remove the whole deck, right? So why wouldn't that also be true, that it would all fail? Let's see if we go this way. I'm trying to get out. There's the floor system on top of the wall again, right here, on top of. So, you know, you yeah. Just trying to think how to go backwards now. It's just gonna let me go backwards. I'm gonna go backwards without losing my album position. Try this. Okay, I think one more will do it. And I think I might have lost my album position. I was showing you the methods you could use. Here's the BMA I put out there a long time ago about that. You know, I was the only one screaming BMA. Oh, here it is, back in 21st. It's dated here. What's the date on this thing? Info, oops. Let's go back again. So it says August, and so I made up these zones that I think I see. I'm saying this is the first zone, second zone, construction joint without rebar, lined with a drop floor from cell phone video. Lack of rebar in this joint allow for redirect of the punch-sheared floor forces. Second zone failure rattles columns and possibly takes down part of penthouse. He's activating motion camera across the road there, which shows collapse. So I said this back in embed code, edit, album, eat, select, whatever. August, I would think I did this video on, and I'm talking about the zones. And this, and then the fractures will go more than that. I talked to that with Lem, another structural engineer down in Florida. I was talking to him about this fracture here, how it's very, it's got some interesting information in it. Can we close it? I don't know how to open up more. Oh, okay. August 8th, 6:35 p.m. I talked about the zones, the multiple failure zones. Now, let's get out of this. I still want to get to that fireman one. I want to show you that one, and then that's the one that I wanted to wrap it with. We talked about that. I showed you the way they were doing it. We played with that for some time about how they were building the deck. I let everybody run through it, and then I said, aha, now look, this is how they really did it. Interesting, right here we don't see the bulkhead in yet, and yet we're only at the first floor. You can see the vehicle here on the ground. The bulkheads are not in. This is very interesting to me, because it makes me wonder, what did they do? Add a lot of sand? This is the other side. What was their, how much did they remove? This is clearly on the ground. So this is a ground level. So where is this? And we talked about that. You know, like no bulkhead yet. So they did the flooring and then they went this far. Maybe we're going to put the bulkhead in next, and then put the flooring on top of it. It's a weird setup. It's different, that's for sure. I wonder how, if the bulkhead's already installed and they're going to overlap the bulkhead somehow. Okay, so it appears that fireman thing is AWOL. Oh, I can't even pull up more images. Oh, I'm in another album. I don't know what's going on here. It's short. Oh, there we go. I think I might end this video. If that's 10, that would drive me crazy to go through all of these again to find out fireman one, to show you that the lacking of the joint aspect as presented. Okay, yeah, I'm going to exit pages. I'm going to quit. All right, so just wanted to share that with you, and you know, wishing. Okay, here we go. That's the wall. Hey, Georgie. Let's go with that one. So there are the dowels here, here, and here. But it's spec 3 dowels, I recall. So I said overlay of concrete. So here's this one. That's the layer of it. Concrete deck. That's over there by that jacuzzi tub. Remember, I talked about that later in the video, and I said, look, this is unfair, the way that you can't judge the current rebar head because it was pulled over by this rebar that overlapped the head, and that one overlapped the head. So there's some overlapping there. That's that rebar there. This side it pulled out of and failed. This side still hanging on. But as it went down, it pulled both of these head rebar 14-inch ears, I call them rabbit ears, right? They pulled them both over. See it wrapped around both of them, stripping the rebar concrete off, and bending both ears outwards. So they're the firemen, and we go to load it up. Critical shear area reduced by this design over the head. Yeah. Alright, so let's close that. They look like duplicates. Darn it, I'm trying to find the one with the one I said. All right, that's that view from there. And you can, in this image, it's a lot more clear how that's a slight bend there, but it's still holding on. But you can see that it still continues all the way over to there. Consider that is a bend there. There is a fracture right here, you know, a degreed fracture. But looking from this end, you can see that it's right there. That fracture is right about there. And it continues over there. This flower box, maybe when it went down, it caused a secondary fracture going across. When the flower box, this Magellus wall system, see the deflection here? Presents the deflection. Maybe my flower box, when it held on and it went rotated over, caused this secondary fracture. So that, you know, it's nothing to. And there's the planter box turned on its side. Planter box turned on its side. Fireman ladder. Okay, so you can see from this angle that this didn't fall first. It would have, in that guy's opinion, Josh's, if this fell first, then this is bound. These didn't break. How did it do a reversal? It fell first, and then it just couldn't have. You remember all the concrete how I showed you how it was designed over here. This is just frustrating. There's a bump, a pull-out. The pull-out is indicated also with that wall, my Magellus wall, showing the bulging there, the rotation. And that rotation and falling over could simply give us this crack here. It could be as simple as that with that secondary fracture here. Or not secondary. Yeah, I guess it would be secondary fracture there. I would theorize it bumped off. And then it becomes an unsupported span at that point too. We got this car issue. The car supporting it, and the fracture continues down. Here, you can't see it in this image, but I showed you in the other part of this video. The fracture continues down. This is what the planter boxes look like. There's the rotation. The fracture here is not pulling down from the wall, but pulling away from the wall, and there's an open fracture there. All right, I'm done with this video. Hopefully, you can enjoy it. And shout out to my donators and thank you. Don't know if I should say the name. I wish you guys would say your name, or did you get out here in the open here? And did you get my card, my SD card? Thank you. I got someone else sent me a couple of SD cards. You know, really, this stuff uses a lot of memory, and I'm not going to go with the other stuff anymore. And it helps me with editing. So yes, it's like a SD card is not something that I right now. I'll delete it when I'm off the list if I no longer need them. But right now, I'm still using them. Still using them up for this data and for the other videos. It's not. It doesn't look like it's going to be an end in sight for that anyway. No time soon. I made sure to find the cheap cards, the cheapest cards I can find, not that would work. I appreciate you. Thank you, and please comment below. And if you want me to, someone just sent me 2 cards. And you know who you are, and I'm trying to say thank you without saying your name, but you know, because you should say your name, I think. I want to just do that. Thanks again. Take care.